Horses arrived with the Spanish in the 1500s. Now they far outnumber the 30-something humans who live on Cumberland. It's a sliver of an island, not quite 20 miles long, just off the Georgia coast. A wild and magical place of spectacular beauty, where nature feels large and people small, which is why they love it here.
This is the place. This little church was built by freed slaves. This is where John and Carolyn got married.
If you've ever heard of Cumberland Island, possibly it's because this was where the late John F. Kennedy Jr. married Carolyn Bessette.
It was absolutely extraordinary. There was no light. We had one candle up here. It was just the most magical moment.
Gogo Ferguson, whose family has been on the island for 7 generations, arranged the wedding.
By then, I'd known him for 20 years, and he was very attached to Cumberland. It was a place that he knew he could have his privacy. And he was very passionate about this history.
But this story is about her love of that history and how it's shaped her life. Once, Native Americans lived on the island. Then the Spanish, the French, and the British came and went. Their missions and forts gone now. Revolutionary War hero General Nathaniel Greene bought thousands of acres of land on Cumberland in 1783. His wife and daughter's graves remain. The chimneys of a few slave cabins are all that's left from the island's years as a cotton plantation before the Civil War. Its next incarnation was as a rich man's vacation playground.
The story of Plum Orchard is truly all about family.
The family in question? The Carnegies. Yes, those Carnegies.
Plum Orchard is 22,000 square feet, so it's monstrous.
In the 1880s, Thomas Carnegie, iron and steel magnate Andrew Carnegie's brother and partner, bought up most of Cumberland Island. Mansions were built for his children, including Plum Orchard. Carnegie built an even bigger house, Dungeness, for himself. It was the scene of grand family gatherings. Here was the Gilded Age, in the middle of a wilderness. In 1959, Dungeness burned. By then, the family's fortunes were in decline, but Cumberland was in their blood, especially Thomas Carnegie's rather eccentric granddaughter, Lucy's. She passed her fierce passion for the island on to Gogo Ferguson, her granddaughter.
This is Grandma with an alligator. I'm not so sure it's alive, but it's a fabulous picture.
Growing up, Gogo, whose real name is Janet, spent all her holidays and summers with her grandmother.
She always wore a bandana on her head and a buck knife, and that was all day long and even for a dinner party. She had deer that had been abandoned here that she raised on a bottle. She gave us all this incredible sense of nature that most people don't have.
In 1978, divorced, in need of work, Gogo took Hannah, her small daughter, home to Cumberland Island, where, like her grandmother, she found beauty and purpose in nature.
This is an alligator skull, horse skull. This is from a humpback whale.
Her house looks like a natural history museum.
And these are all bones?
Well, it's bones. This is a megalodon shark's tooth. I would rather have all of these treasures than jewels.
Except that's exactly what she's turned them into.
Pull your hair back a little bit. I think that if somehow we can hinge this.
Her love of everything Cumberland became her living. She transforms her odd island finds into jewelry and housewares. Her daughter Hannah works with her now.
There are always these buckets outside of our house with bones, and they seemed to be steaming to me. In my imagination, I imagined her as a witch, a good witch, but still a witch on Cumberland nonetheless.
If I'm hiking through the woods or, walking down the sand dunes, I can spot the whiteness of a bone anywhere.
Gogo Ferguson is always looking down, collecting something. It's as if she can't help herself. But when she looks up, she doesn't like what she sees.
I've seen so many of the historic structures fall in by demolition by neglect, and that really bothers me greatly.
Demolition by neglect. One of her examples, the pool house next to Dungeness, as it looked originally and now.
Somehow they determined that they shouldn't have let it fall in. That part of the history is erased forever.
By they, she means the National Park Service. In 1972, to prevent the island from being developed, members of the Carnegie family gave or sold most of their land and many buildings to the National Park Service, and the Cumberland Island National Seashore was created. The problem has been the money to maintain it all.
I think we're doing an adequate job in some very lean times.
Fred Boyles recently retired as superintendent of the Cumberland Island National Seashore. He admits the Park Service made a decision to maintain some buildings, but let others go.
It's always been a struggle to set the priorities on where the funding goes.
So just let them fall in?
Well, if it's too far gone, when a building can't be restored, then it's just not a good management decision.
But even as her family's history surrenders to nature, Gogo Ferguson finds her sustenance here.
I can't think of any other place I'd want to be. I get everything from Cumberland Island, my sense of design, my sense of color. Cumberland is just part of my soul.